He had just wiped out an entire clan by himself, but he wasn't a martial arts master. He was a gamer playing the most realistic Murim simulator in the world. The immersion was so deep that he didn't just play the game, he brought the violence into reality. In his apartment, he held a man captive, a known criminal he claimed to be judging in the name of justice. When the criminal tried to fight back, he was handled with the cold precision of a pro fighter. But before he could finish the job, the police stormed the room. He tried to explain his justice, but they only saw a psychopath. As the officer pulled the trigger, sending a bullet through his head, he didn't feel fear. He felt a wish being granted. He woke up not in hell, but in the dirt, being beaten by a stranger. He realized he wasn't in his apartment anymore. He had been sent into the very game he mastered, and now, the world of slaughter was finally real.
The story opens on a scene of absolute devastation within the legendary Mount Hua sect. The grounds are drenched in blood and littered with corpses, leaving a lone surviving Plum Blossom swordsman trembling in horror as he questions if this is truly the sect he once knew. He spots a single man standing amidst the carnage, a demon who wiped out the entire clan by himself. Just then, reinforcements from the great sects of the Murim Alliance, Shaolin, King Cheng, Wudang and Namgung, arrived to surround the intruder, demanding to know his identity and why he committed such a massacre. The killer, looking bored and scratching his head, simply replies that he came because rumors claimed Mount Hua was the strongest, but he is disappointed to find those rumors were false. As the Alliance prepares to attack, the killer smiles, finding the situation fun, but this entire horrifying sequence is revealed to be a simulation. Exhausted after a long session of virtual combat, he leans back, frustrated, reflecting on how even a combined attack from multiple enemies was nearly enough to overwhelm him. The game he's playing is called Murim Online, a recently developed full-dive virtual reality Murim game. Unlike anything else on the market, it's infamous for its extreme violence, graphic gore, severed limbs, and merciless executions. Despite being flooded with public complaints demanding its shutdown, the game continues to operate. Bongsu checks his phone briefly, acknowledging that no other game offers the same brutal realism. It's dangerous, disturbing, and addictive. He quietly decides that next time, he'll need a more discreet approach to survive. As he scrolls, a breaking news alert flashes across the screen. Mr. No, a high-ranking executive of Dido Corporation, has gone missing. The atmosphere shifts. From behind Bongsu, a weak voice pleads for help. When he turns around, his expression changes, calm, almost as if he has suddenly remembered something important. Without hesitation, he reaches for a hammer. The man before him is badly injured, bleeding, desperately begging to be spared. Bongsu calmly sits down in front of him and grips his mouth, asking in a quiet, chilling manner whether he truly wants help. That's when the truth becomes clear. The injured man is the same individual reported missing in the news. Terrified, the man insists he has no idea why he was kidnapped, swearing he has done nothing wrong. Bongsu responds not with words, but by tossing photographs onto the floor. The images reveal the man torturing women and men, laughing as he documents their suffering. The man's expression collapses into rage and despair. He demands to know how Bongsu obtained such evidence. Bongsu finally speaks, his tone cold and unwavering. If the man had truly done nothing wrong, he would never have become prey. As he prepares his hammer, the man breaks down, claiming repentance, begging desperately for mercy. Bongsu grips his head and reflects on how often he hears the phrase, "spare me." Whether spoken by victims or killers, the words have grown meaningless. Just as Bongsu raises his hammer, the man suddenly drops his act. With explosive rage, he breaks free from his restraints, lunging forward, screaming threats and grabbing the hammer himself. His mask is gone, revealing the predator beneath. Bongsu, however, smiles. The man charges, swinging the hammer wildly. Bongsu dodges effortlessly, counters with a crushing punch to the stomach, then follows with a brutal kick to the face. The man is sent flying, battered and terrified. Crawling backward, desperate to escape, he screams that he doesn't want to die. Bongsu approaches slowly, explaining his worldview. Most humans, he believes, are herbivores, peaceful, harmless. But among them exists a minority of carnivores. Those who hunt, attack, torture, and devour the weak. And Bongsu. He is the one who hunts those carnivores. The man stumbles into the kitchen, cornered against a refrigerator. When the door swings open, dozens of corpses wrapped in plastic spill into view. The air turns suffocating. Behind him stands Bongsu, eyes glowing red with predatory focus. A hunter staring down his prey. The man panics, screaming for Bong-soo to stay away. Suddenly, the apartment door is shattered open. Police flood the room, weapons raised, shouting orders to freeze. At their front stands the unit commander, who calls Bong-soo by name. Dong Bong-soo is under arrest for kidnapping, unlawful confinement, and murder. Bong-soo's expression hardens. He wonders how the police found this place. A gunshot rings out. A bullet slams into the wall behind him, a live round. He stands alone, surrounded by officers, and the situation feels strangely familiar, just like the Murim game he was playing earlier. Bong-soo laughs. He calmly reveals the truth. The man behind him murdered 6 women, tortured them, photographed their suffering, and killed them. The bodies in the room all belonged to criminals just like him. They were beasts. Carnivores who preyed on ordinary people. And Bong-soo was merely the hunter. The one who should be shot, he insists, isn't him, but the monster trembling behind the fridge. The police commander responds coldly. Regardless of Bong-soo's justification, all he sees is a psychopath who kidnaps and kills. Bong-soo laughs again, realizing there was never going to be understanding. In one swift motion, he swings his hammer and kills the man instantly. Gunfire erupts. As bullets tear through him, Bong-soo's consciousness fades. His final thought is almost peaceful. If he ever gets another chance at life, he hopes it will be a world filled with beasts he can kill without restraint. A world like Murim. Darkness, then awareness. Bong-soo opens his eyes. He's alive. Confused, he realizes he was definitely shot, but his body feels wrong. A man dressed in purple stands before him, shocked that he survived. Without mercy, the man grabs him, curses him, and complains about the trouble it took to drag his body from the marketplace. He punches Bong-soo and throws him into a room, warning him that he'll be dead by tomorrow. The door slams shut. Rage burns in Bong-soo's eyes as he tries to stand. Pain surges through every muscle. He collapses, realizing this body is badly injured and unfamiliar. As he examines his hands, panic sets in. This isn't his body. He looks out the window. The city outside is completely different. Ancient architecture, martial sect banners, a world frozen in time. Murim. Understanding finally dawns. His lips curl into a smile. His wish has come true. This is Murim. The next day begins in silence. Before Dong Bong-soo ever awakens in this body, we see the life of its original owner, Sosum. At dawn, Sosum is cleaning the stables alone. His movements are slow and exhausted, his body already pushed beyond its limits. Before he can finish, the door is kicked open violently. A man storms in, shouting Sosum's name. This is Ma-chil, a senior member of the Danri clan. Sosum freezes, the fear in his eyes is immediate. Ma-chil orders him to follow without explanation. Sosum hesitates, nervously explaining that he hasn't finished cleaning the stables yet. That hesitation costs him. Ma-chil grabs Sosum by the face, fury twisting his expression. He reminds Sosum of his place, that the Danri clan only feeds and houses him out of convenience. Sosum is nothing more than a stuttering orphan, a slave. And slaves don't get to question orders. The scene shifts to a weapons shop. An elderly shopkeeper looks up, surprised to see visitors. He asks where Ma-chil is, only to be told that Ma-chil is drinking at the Phoenix Tavern, once again shirking his responsibilities. The shopkeeper hesitates. Moving this many weapons would be difficult with only 2 people. Before he can finish speaking, Sosum is shoved forward and thrown to the ground. The message is clear. Sosum will be used instead. Ma-chil's companion mocks the situation, joking that while they enjoy drinks at the tavern, Sosum can handle all the heavy lifting alone. The old man watches in silence, guilt visible on his face, but he does nothing. He can't. Sosum carries bundles of wrapped weapons through the streets, his arms trembling under the weight. Blades poke through torn cloth, cutting into his skin with every step. Eventually, the bag rips open completely. Weapons scatter across the ground. Sosum panics, hurriedly gathering them, forcing the broken bag back together. He continues working, refusing to stop. By the time he finishes, his face is pale, nearly lifeless. The old shopkeeper gently suggests that he rest. Sossum weakly insists that he's fine. As he walks away, his thoughts echo in his mind. It's cold. So cold. A question rises from deep within him, one he's never dared to ask before. Does he really want to keep living like this? Like an insect. Lost in thought, Sossum accidentally bumps into a massive man on the street. The man explodes in rage. Before Sossum can finish apologizing, a fist slams into his face. He crashes to the ground. Another kick follows. As his body is beaten, a voice echoes through the narration, not anger, not hatred, but exhaustion. When did everything go wrong? Was it when his family died in a typhoon, leaving him the only survivor? Another punch. Was it when he begged at the gates of the Danri clan just to live another day? Another kick. Or perhaps it was the moment he was born into a world like this. Broken and bleeding, Sossum's consciousness fades. His final thought isn't rage. It's a plea. Save me. And then he dies. That is the moment Dong Bongsu enters this body. The body Sossum suffered in. The life Sossum couldn't endure. The next morning, Dong Bongsu awakens in Sossum's body. Pain floods him instantly. Every movement hurts as he drags himself to a water basin and looks at his reflection. A small, battered face stares back. So this child's name was Sossum. From fragmented memories, Bongsu realizes the truth. The real Sossum was beaten to death, and at the moment of his death, Bongsu's soul entered this body. Suddenly, a blue window appears before his eyes. A system. It welcomes him to Murim Online, a world where only the strong survive. Bongsu freezes. It's the same status window from the game. 2 weeks pass. Marchil approaches the stables with a bowl of food, cursing loudly. He complains about having to deal with Sossum and briefly considers killing him outright. But it's too risky. If he's caught, his own life would be forfeit. He kicks the stable door open, furious that Sossum survived, and throws the food inside like garbage. From the shadows, Sossum watches silently. 2 weeks have passed since Bongsu woke up in this world. And in that time, he has learned the truth. First, this world uses Chinese characters, but it isn't China. Martial arts here are real. People fly across rooftops, shatter stone, and move faster than the eye can follow. Second, martial arts and breathing techniques define everything. Strength determines status. This is Murim, a real-world version of Murim Online. Third, the system window is real, functional, and visible only to him. At first, Bongsu believed this might be a game. But this world bleeds. The people here feel fear, pain, hatred, and joy. This is reality. Dongo's mocking voice breaks the silence. He taunts Sossum, furious that others were punished because of him. Sossum doesn't respond. Instead, he calmly eats. Dongo snaps, threatening him, reminding him who his elder is. And then, Sossum moves. In one clean motion, he drives a blade into Dongo's neck. Cold, precise. He whispers that the Sossum Dongo knew died long ago. Dongo struggles, but the blade is pulled free and plunged in again. Blood floods the room. Sossum laughs, twisted, unrestrained, as the world around him seems to turn red. As Dongo collapses, Sossum looks at his injured hand. Human. Player. None of it matters. This world follows one law. The weak are prey. The strong are worshipped. And in a place like this, he doesn't need to hide. Stronger monsters than him are surely roaming free in this jungle called Murim. Once this body recovers, he will hunt again. This land of true predators, this new Murim, is where his hunt truly begins. In next scene, we see Sossum sitting beside Dongo's lifeless body. Blood stains the floor, the air heavy with the aftermath of violence. His expression is calm, not triumphant, but analytical. He reflects that ordinarily, someone like Dongo wouldn't even be worth hunting. He was weak-minded, predictable, insignificant. But there is one thing Sosum needs to confirm. He quietly calls up his inventory. A blue portal materializes in the air, and immediately something feels wrong. In Murim Online, the inventory was slot-based, 1 item per slot, clean, limited, artificial. But this inventory is different. It's a single, massive space. Sosum reaches inside. The sensation is unmistakable. The interior feels vast, hundreds of square meters at least. An open, empty void capable of holding far more than simple items. He turns back to Dongo's corpse. Carefully, he places his hand on the man's head and recalls how the system worked inside the game. He issues the command to store the body. In an instant, blue light engulfs Dongo. The corpse vanishes without resistance, swallowed whole by the inventory. Sosum watches in silence. That massive body erased in a single moment. The implications are staggering. This isn't just convenient. It's dangerous. If objects can be stored, then what about living beings? And if living beings can be stored, do they remain alive inside? Or do they die? Sosum smiles faintly. Further experimentation will be required. The next day, Sosum is back to cleaning outside the stables. 2 servants nearby whisper among themselves, casting glances in his direction. Suddenly, a sharp slap lands on the back of his head. "Ma chill." He sneers, mocking Sosum for becoming a mute. Sosum stutters in confusion, unable or unwilling to respond properly. Ma chill curses loudly, annoyed that Sosum won't even speak clearly anymore. He orders him to take one of the horses out for a walk. To Ma chill, Sosum is broken goods. Useless. A burden. Sosum leads the horse through the marketplace, observing his surroundings with quiet focus. Children notice him. They begin throwing stones. They mock him loudly, singing cruel chants about his stutter and calling him a mute. 1 stone strikes his head. Sosum stops. For a brief moment, anger flashes in his eyes. The children freeze, fear replacing their laughter. Then Sosum laughs. Awkwardly, softly. He walks away. Confused, the children watch him go, before resuming their mockery once they feel safe again. But Sosum no longer hears them. Later, Marchil stands before a locked storage room, grumbling to himself. Dongo hasn't shown his face in days, and Marchil curses his name, wondering if the man dropped dead somewhere. The door suddenly opens. Sosum steps out. Marchil freezes. Inside, every weapon gleams, clean, perfectly maintained. Marchil realizes Sosum did all the work, without being told. This isn't the same useless orphan. Something changed after that near-death beating. For the first time, Marchil wonders if Sosum has finally become a proper human. Sosum silently hands him a pouch filled with gold coins. Marchil bursts into laughter. He praises Sosum for finally understanding how the world works: flexibility, submission, knowing when to bow. Satisfied, Marchil walks away, whistling. Behind him, Sosum's expression turns cold. Marchil doesn't realize it. That gold is his fare for the afterlife. Marchil strolls through the market, pockets heavy, confidence overflowing. He decides to skip his usual choice at the Phoenix Tavern. Tonight he wants Chosian. He enters the tavern proudly, tossing money onto the counter. The owner hesitates. Chosian isn't cheap, but Marchil insists. Moments later, he's guided to a private room on the 2nd floor. Marchil waits inside, sweating, blushing, heart racing. The door opens. Chosian enters. Her beauty eclipses everything else. Compared to her, Marchil's usual companion is nothing. He orders her closer, commands her to pour him a drink. His arrogance swells. He reaches out, complimenting her delicate hands, pulling her nearer. He doesn't notice. Behind the wall, a small hole, and an eye watching. Sosum stands silently on the other side, peering through the open. The moment Marchil is led toward the private room on the 2nd floor, the tavern owner watches him disappear with an uneasy expression. He clicks his tongue quietly, thinking how twisted it is that a man like Marchil would choose a girl young enough to be his daughter. But then he looks down at the pouch of money in his hands. Money itself, he reminds himself, is not a sin. That thought is interrupted when someone approaches from behind. It's Sossum. The tavern owner stiffens, irritation flashing across his face. He snaps at Sossum, demanding to know if he even understands where he is and threatening to throw him out immediately. Sossum doesn't argue. Stuttering deliberately, he asks for Ying. The tavern owner's attitude changes instantly. He counts the coins, breaks into laughter, and warmly directs Sossum to the second room from the end on the second floor. Just like that, Sossum is allowed inside. Back in the present, Marchil stands proudly in the private room, flushed and satisfied. He boasts to himself, convinced that he still has plenty of strength left in him. He never hears Sossum approach. Without warning, a strip of cloth tightens around Marchil's neck. The bandage coils like a noose, cutting off his breath. Marchil struggles violently, clawing at his throat, terror flooding his eyes as he tries to understand what kind of monster has attacked him. Sossum doesn't respond. He tightens his grip. Moments later, Marchil's body goes limp. Sossum releases him and watches without emotion as life leaves his eyes. Sossum turns toward the bed. Chosian lies there unconscious, her breathing shallow. She hasn't seen anything. Sossum studies her calmly. In his mind, she is an herbivore, someone without the will or strength to protect herself in this world. He does not touch her. Instead, he retrieves the wooden plank he had hidden earlier by pulling it out of his inventory. The empty space where it had been concealed confirms his preparation was flawless. His experiment worked. The inventory isn't just useful, it's essential. As Sossum looks down at Marchil's corpse, a realization settles in. He has gained experience points. Killing in this world grants experience, just like in Murim Online. With enough experience, he can level up. Leveling up makes him stronger. And strength makes hunting easier. Easier hunts lead to more kills. More kills mean faster growth. The logic is flawless. In this world, he understands something terrifyingly clear. He can become infinitely strong. A quiet, unrestrained laugh escapes him. What a wonderful world this is. He glances at Marchil's corpse one last time and feels a twinge of regret. It's a shame he doesn't have a camera. Outside the room, the tavern owner stands impatiently. Ying rushes toward him, breathless, asking if the customers are still inside. The owner scolds her lightly for being late and orders her to go in quickly. Payment has already been made, and a customer is still a customer, even if he's a mute. Ying nods and enters the room, apologizing cheerfully as she steps inside. The tavern owner waits. And waits. Time passes. Growing irritated, he knocks on the door, calling for Marchil and Chosian. He says another customer is waiting and that they should come out soon. There is no response. His annoyance turns into anger. Muttering curses, he slams the door open. A scream shatters the silence. The tavern owner rushes inside, panic gripping his chest. Chosian is backed against the wall, trembling in terror. And hanging from the ceiling is Marchil's lifeless body. The tavern owner stares in horror, his voice breaking as he whispers Marchil's name. The story shifts to Anhui. To the north, the Huai River flows. At its center, the Yangtze River cuts through the land, forming an expansive and fertile plain. Since ancient times, Anhui has been known for its rich soil and the countless lakes and rivers that intersect the region. These natural routes allowed commerce and trade to flourish, turning the province into one of the most prosperous areas in the Murim world. But where wealth gathers, danger is never far behind. Bandits, criminals, and members of the unorthodox faction inevitably followed. As chaos spread, warriors rose to oppose them. Over time, countless clans and sects dedicated to upholding Murim's code were established across Anhui. Among them, two names stood above the rest. The Namgun clan, one of the 5 great clans of the Central Plains, and the most powerful sect in Anhui. And the Danri clan. Though the Danri clan could not rival Namgung in sheer prestige, it possessed its own fearsome strength, its elite combat force, the Crossheaven Sword Division. More importantly, it commanded an intelligence and law enforcement unit feared throughout the region. The Black Crow Squad. Their information-gathering abilities were so formidable that even the Beggar sect, renowned across Murim for intelligence, was forced to admit inferiority, at least within Anhui. Yet recently, even the Black Crow Squad had encountered a troubling case. A servant delivers a scroll to the Black Crow Squad's leader, Guy Dihio. As he reads, his expression darkens. Another suicide. Over the past few months, nearly 100 people have taken their own lives. Suicides were not unheard of, but never at this scale. Previously, there were only 1 or 2 cases a month. This was different. What unsettles him most is the perfection of the cases. Every scene, every piece of evidence, every circumstance points conclusively to suicide. Too conclusively. He asks who died first. The servant answers, an armory artisan named Marchil, a member of the Danri clan. Guy Dihio immediately orders the location. The Phoenix Tavern. Ignoring his subordinate's concerns, he insists on investigating personally. Guy Dihio arrives at the Phoenix Tavern and stands before the very room where Marchil was found hanging. The tavern owner confirms that Marchil was discovered suspended from the rafters inside this room. As Guy Dihio steps inside, his mind races. If this wave of suicides is actually a series of murders, then how did the culprit enter this room? He searches every corner. There is no sign of forced entry, no windows, no doors, no hidden passages. Then he notices something unusual. A narrow gap between the wooden logs of the wall. If the logs were removed, passage would be possible, but they have never been taken out. The structure itself makes removal impossible without dismantling the beams. Guy Dihio asks if the logs can be removed without tearing apart the roof. The answer is no. Which leaves only one question. Was it truly suicide? He asks if anyone else stayed in the adjacent room that night. The tavern owner confirms there was another guest, someone who arrived around the same time as Marchil. His name was Sossum. The scene shifts to the marketplace. Sossum walks calmly, leading a horse through the crowd. His status window hovers just short of level 2. As he reflects, he realizes something important. The experience points he gained from killing the man near the tavern were significantly higher than before. That man must have been a martial artist. Killing stronger opponents grants more experience. But Sossum knows his limits. If he fights a true martial artist right now, he will lose. Even the weakest warrior of the Danri clan surpasses him. What he needs are targets who stand between commoners and martial artists. Prey just like the one he killed recently. A mocking voice calls out to him. A group of street thugs blocks his path, grinning with familiarity. One of them, a tattooed man, sneers and demands respect from Sossum, mocking him for ignoring his elders. Sossum observes them coldly. No matter how pathetic Sossum once was, he was still a member of the Danri clan. And yet, he lived his life being pushed around by scum like this. The tattooed thug grabs him by the head and threatens him, dragging him toward a dark corner. Sossum weighs his options. He could kill them all and make it look like suicide. With his inventory, disposing of the bodies would be easy. But creating a scene here carries risk. And the experience gain wouldn't be worth it. For now, he decides to endure. The thug punches him, laughing about how well Sossum must be living these days. Before things escalate further, a man in green robes steps forward and orders the thugs to stop. His name is Jang Ho. The tattooed thug immediately bows, terrified. Jang Ho ignores Sossum and walks straight to the horse, examining it with interest. He explains that his organization's leader is obsessed with horses, and he plans to offer this one as a gift. The intent is unmistakable. He plans to kill Sossum and take the horse. Sossum senses it instantly. Such blatant killing intent. Jang Ho warns him he doesn't ask questions twice. Sosum responds calmly, telling him to just kill him already. The thugs freeze. Sosum can speak. In a single motion, Sosum opens his inventory and draws a knife. Before Jang Ho can react, the blade pierces straight through his heart. Jang Ho's eyes widen in shock as he collapses. At that exact moment, a burst of light erupts around Sosum. He has reached level 2. The thugs panic. They scream that Sosum is a demon, torn between fleeing and attacking. Sosum stands before them, his body enveloped in a crimson aura, knife gleaming in his hand. A bald thug sprints through the alley, breath tearing from his chest. Panic floods his mind as he glances back again and again. What is that thing? Whatever is chasing him, it isn't human. Before he can cry out, a blade flashes through the darkness. His leg is severed cleanly. He collapses to the ground, screaming as blood spills across the stone. His thoughts spiral, terror swallowing everything else. Is this really it? Am I going to die here? Footsteps stop behind him. Sosum stands there quietly. The thug babbles in desperation, ranting about how Sosum used to be nothing, just a laughing fool who handed over money whenever beaten. He insists he only did what he always did: extort, threaten, survive. That's all. And yet here he is, about to die at the hands of someone he once looked down on. The humiliation is unbearable. His consciousness fades. When the thug opens his eyes again, he gasps. Sosum is sitting calmly in front of him. Not angry. Not rushed. Patient. A blade presses lightly against his neck. Sosum asks about the man who died first, the one who acted tough. The name spills out immediately. Jang Ho. Fear loosens the thug's tongue. He explains everything. Jang Ho was an executive of the Black Snake Society, a criminal group controlling the back alleys of Bungyang. That society itself answers to something larger. The Ebony Syndicate. And the order to kill Sosum and steal the horse came directly from their leader. Bang Poyom. Sosum listens without interrupting, committing every word to memory. The structure is clear now. Hierarchy. Executives. A leader at the top. In modern terms, it's nothing more than a gang. Sosum speaks calmly, offering the thug hope. If the information is useful, he says, the man will live. Relief floods the thug's face. He believes he survived. The next moment, the alley is silent again. The thug is dead. Sosum opens his inventory and cleans everything away, bodies, blood, traces. He exhales softly and sits down, organizing his thoughts. Today, he learned something important. He was searching for prey that existed between ordinary civilians and true martial artists. And he found it. The Ebony Syndicate. The next moment, the alley is silent again. Sosum examines his body. Every wound is gone. Not just the scars on his hands, every injury, inside and out, has vanished the instant he leveled up. Even damage that should have been permanent is completely healed. A dangerous realization forms. If leveling up can heal the body entirely, even fatal injuries might not be the end. Taking calculated risks may be acceptable if he times it right. But there's a problem. The explosion of light when he reached the next level. It's beautiful. And deadly. That light announces his presence to the world. Anyone nearby would notice. Anyone watching would grow suspicious. The inventory-based killing method carries the same danger. If he's careless even once, he'll be exposed. He cannot afford that. Standing among the crowd later, Sosum blends in effortlessly. And he understands the rule that all true hunters follow. A hunter hiding among prey must look ordinary. Only when you are indistinguishable from everyone else. Only when no one notices you. Can you become the ultimate predator? Night falls. Sosum sits alone in a dark alley, the city quiet around him. He concludes that leveling up must happen only at the very end of a hunt, or somewhere no one else exists. He stands, takes the horse's reins, and walks out. If Jiang Ho had been stronger, if he had been more cautious, Sosum might have died. Pretending to be mute is no longer enough. He needs strength, and he needs it quickly. By killing more. By killing stronger prey. Yes, that was exactly what he had been thinking. Sosum returns to the horse stables, his mind still racing from the night's hunt. Suddenly, a blue system panel flashes into existence. A critical error has occurred. The system declares that there should be no issues with the progression of Murim Online, and yet the error persists. Sosum immediately understands. This error appeared the moment he reached level 2. The cause isn't the system. It's him. He shouldn't exist in this world, yet both he and the Murim Online system are operating simultaneously. The contradiction itself is the error. Then another thought strikes him. Wasn't his very existence here already a critical error from the beginning? A little late to complain now. Sosum notices something else. The stats that were once displayed as question marks have changed into gauge bars. No numbers, no exact values. It makes sense. This world isn't a game. Reality can't quantify everything the way a system can. The error might be forcing the system to adapt. Curious, Sosum opens the skill menu. Several basic skills appear, simple, fundamental techniques common to every Murim Online character: slashing, stabbing, blocking, throwing. All passive, all basic. But one skill stands out. Spirit Eye. He's never seen it before. There's no clear description, only a name. Before he can analyze further, the system reacts on its own. A new message appears. The activation conditions for Spirit Eye have been met. The skill activates automatically. Sosum freezes. Another message follows immediately. An enemy with a level difference of 10 or more has entered within 20 meters. A countdown begins. This isn't an attack. It's a warning. As the seconds tick down, Sosum steadies his breathing. Breaking into the Danri clan is no small feat. Anyone capable of doing so wouldn't move this slowly, unless they weren't an enemy. This must be someone from the clan itself. Someone far stronger than him. The realization chills him. Reaching level 2 cost blood, risk and lives. A 10-level gap represents an unimaginable difference. How many ordinary people would he have to kill to reach that level? Thousands. Tens of thousands. The door opens. A tall figure steps inside. It's Guy Dihyo, leader of the Black Crow squad. He places a hand on Sosum's shoulder and calmly asks his name. Sosum stiffens. Dihyo follows with a direct question. Did you kill Marchil? Sosum feigns terror, stammering helplessly. In response, Dihyo injects internal energy through the hand gripping Sosum's shoulder, a probing shock meant to detect any trace of martial arts. Sosum convulses. Then, just as suddenly, Dihyo turns away. He orders his subordinates to leave. And they do. Outside, Dihyo's subordinate is confused. Why leave without a proper interrogation? Dihyo explains calmly. He tested Sosum directly by injecting internal energy into his body. If Sosum had practiced martial arts, even slightly, there would have been a trace. There was nothing. Sosum is empty. An ordinary person. No internal energy. No training. No threat. Dihyo wonders silently if all those deaths were truly suicides after all. If not, how many more must die before the truth is revealed? Inside the stable, Sosum watches them leave. His eyes burn red. At a tavern, two men drink heavily. One speaks excitedly about a rumor spreading through the city. The nameless swordsman. The other corrects him angrily. Not nameless. The great nameless swordsman. A man who hunts down members of the Ebony Syndicate without mercy. They whisper about entire groups being wiped out, the White Tiger Unit, the Red Wolf Sect. Only one remains. The Black Snake Society. And everyone knows. Their time is coming. A man in black leaves the tavern. Rain pours over Bungyang as thunder cracks across the sky. Lightning illuminates the streets. And somewhere in the darkness, the hunter moves. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next upload.